What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Blazers Uprise podcast post-game show. See, my mind's running around everywhere. Where's my social media? I don't know. Whatever, I don't care. So thankfully I didn't watch this game, to be quite honest. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I had some rec league and then played one game and then was gonna come home at halftime and I saw the score and I was like, yeah, no, thank you. So I'll bring on Eric though, because I think Eric watched it. And yeah, so I don't know what happened to Lil. I don't know anything, man. But I'm gonna bring on Eric and maybe he can fill us in. Let me just say this though. Everybody's talking about keeping Whiteside even if he walks. Even if it means we can't make a move next year. Also, we can get the 8th seed so that we can contend. This roster isn't good enough, man. I mean, like, I didn't see the game tonight, but this defense isn't good enough. Even during this good stretch, we've been giving up around 120 points per game. How many points do we give up tonight against an injured Denver Nuggets team? We gave up 127 points. I don't need to watch the game to tell you that our defense is not good enough to win a series in the playoffs. Like, I've been watching it the past 6 games, even during these wins, it hasn't been good enough, and I assume that's the case tonight. With Hassan Whiteside, even having Trevor Ariza, I know they don't have good defenders around them, but even with Hassan Whiteside's elite defense, still giving up 120 points per game. I don't know, man. And we're gonna keep them, and it's. I mean, I've talked about it how it's not the right move, but I mean, I'll just bring on Eric I'll listen to you guys about the game too. I didn't see it because I didn't want to come home at halftime. You guys don't want to hear that ringtone. All right, what's up, man? I didn't watch the game because I had a rec league game, 6:30, and then I checked the score at halftime. I was gonna come home and I saw that we were down 20, so then I stayed and played another game instead of watching whatever the hell happened. So I'm counting on you to fill me in.
Basically our defense sucked and our offense went back to not moving the ball, and the second quarter especially just featured CJ dribbling around a lot. Sure, he got fouled on a couple, but he got really mad and then took his frustration out on I forgot who it was, but he flagrant fouled someone like he did in the Pelicans playoff series because he got all mad. A lot of mellow post-ups that resulted in missed shots and him just backing down for 4 seconds before he took a bad shot.
Basically, here's my interpretation. Just looking at the box score, when Dame's not going off, our offense doesn't move the ball. So our ball movement and a good brand of offense is based off Dame playing insane. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, not really. I mean, Dame was setting some people up. We missed a lot of threes. I think one point we were like 2 for 14 on threes in the first half. So that was part of it, I guess. But yeah, Dame was driving to the basket, not getting any calls either, which sucked. But yeah, I haven't seen this in the last 4 games, but this has happened several times this year when we've won a couple of games where they just come out and act like they're a different team without having that same determination and hustle and focus that they've had to get those wins, and they can't do that. This team is not good enough to just come out and think they're back and they don't need to focus on every little detail, because this team just does not have the talent to get away with that with the injuries and stuff. But yeah, we basically ran no offense and our defense was terrible. So that's all the game.
I mean, that winning what? We won 5 and 6 games. That was I don't know. I don't understand and I was saying this before tonight. I don't understand all the people saying, oh, we got to keep Whiteside. Look how this team's playing. This team's finally figured it out. No excuses of injuries or whatever. And all of a sudden, this team's figured it out. Even though it wasn't possible to figure out because injuries. But yeah, even with still with injuries, the team was figuring it out. Which basically proved my point that I got, that people talked shit over all season long. That all these media guys talk shit over. It proved my point the way this team was playing. But that 6 games, winning 5 out of 6, to me that looks like the aberration. You know what I mean? I don't have the confidence that that team can play that style of basketball in the playoffs. I don't have that type of confidence that that team can continue that style of basketball. You know what I mean? Like, Dame's not going to average 50 points a game for the rest of the season. And then what happens then? That's what I was saying. You know what I mean? Can we play this brand of basketball when Dame's only having a so-so game? I don't think we can. I don't think we can, because when he's hitting deep threes, when he's dropping 50, it extends the defense so much that the cuts are so obvious. The ball movement is so easy that it's almost like hard for them to not do the right thing offensively, in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, when the going gets tough, when Dame's not hitting shots, can you guys still play a good brand of offense? And I mean, I didn't see the game tonight, but just looking at hearing what you said, looking at Twitter, it doesn't seem like that's the case. And I haven't seen that once this year where Dame struggled and we've moved the ball well and had good ball movement and had a good style of offense. So now Dame comes back to earth, and what do we get? A 30-point loss. And everybody's talking about keeping Whiteside so we can contend as an 8th seed.
Dame had 9 assists. The rest of the starters had 3 combined. And then the bench had 4 assists, but those are mostly in the fourth quarter garbage time. I think all 4 of them were. So that's basically, other than Dame, we had 3 assists through the first 3 quarters. So that just tells you everything you need to know right there.
And I don't know, man. Like, I do think this team's better with Ariza. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but yeah, you guys who watch me day in, day out know I just try and be as real as possible. You know what I mean? I'm not biased. Like, I'm not biased against Stotts. I wish I liked Stotts as a coach. I'm not biased against Olshey. You know, I was critical of Olshey in the past. I've actually been defending him so far this year until, he probably doesn't trade us on Whiteside at the deadline, and then that switches. But I try and call things how they are. I'm real. That's what I built my whole channel around. That's what I built this whole platform around. And before this game, I'm soaking up, enjoying the team playing well, you know what I mean? But it just, it's not sustainable, you know what I mean? And you can't base what we do at the trade deadline, you can't base it around a 6-game sample size. We're now 23-28. We're talking about, we just got blown out by a super beat-up injured Nuggets team.
And it's frustrating coming off 2 days off. We play so well in a back-to-back situation against 2 top seeds in the West, and then I know Denver's a tough place to play, but we didn't even show up tonight. Really, it was bad.
Yeah.
And this is the other thing. In the playoffs, teams are gonna figure out a way to take Dame out of games. It happens every playoffs. Do we have what it takes to score and have an offense when that happens? I liked what I had seen the last few games with putting a player in the middle, just inside the 3-point line, and having him dribble towards the basket, and then you have shooters in the corners, or you have a dump-off option, Whiteside underneath. But I didn't really see that much tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm responding to Jason Quick here on Twitter. Because he said, what did he say? Let me copy and paste this, because he tweeted out, the Blazers are back or whatever, and then JJ LaFront, I don't know if he's in here, but he said, didn't Jason Quick say the Blazers were back? This is why we shouldn't overrate 4 games in which Dame averaged 48 points, 6 games, but his point is valid. Hopefully this game will help Neil Olshey realize that. And Jason Quick responded saying, what did you expect them to go 36-0 to end the season? They had a stinker in one game, in one of the toughest places to win, but go ahead and go nuts if that makes you feel better. And then JJ said, Jason, no one expects them to go 36-0, but the fact that as soon as Dame doesn't drop 40 points, then we lose, that's not a coincidence. I'm just saying, telling Neil Olshey to stand pat because we won the 4 games Dame averaged 48 isn't the right move in my opinion. It sets us up for failure. And Jason Quick said, the point I was making is that Ariza has changed them and they need to give the group a chance to meld and evolve. And my response to that is, you got to give this team a chance to meld and evolve into the 8th seed and instead of possibly supplying more talent in the future and that group melding and evolving into what would be a higher seed in the future, that makes no sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, all because of 4 games this year, we should sacrifice the future so this team can meld and evolve into an 8th seed. Like, yeah, we'd be a dangerous 8th seed when healthy if we played the right style of basketball, but who knows if we'd even play the right style of basketball. And even if we did, even if we played the right style and we're healthy, it's still not likely we make it out of the first round. I mean, we just got killed by a beat-up Denver Nuggets team. We lost by 30 tonight, 28, whatever it was. So why are we going to let this team, why are we going to stand pat, risk the future just so we can meld and evolve into an 8 seed? It doesn't make sense to me, man. So we're going to see on Thursday what happens, but standing pat is not the option. Keeping us on Whiteside is not the option. I've said that even when we've played well, even when we've played bad. I've been so consistent on that. I've been the only one who I've seen has consistently said trade us on Whiteside, because Chad Doing was on that boat all year. Me and Chad actually agree on something for once, believe it or not. But then today he's like, well, maybe it is the right move to keep Whiteside. No, it's not. It's not. Me and you are the only ones that have been consistent on that this year in terms of like people who cover the team. So, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't have a good feeling. This stretch, I feel like they're more likely to stand pat now, and that's not going to be the right long-term decision.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying you're overreacting a little bit in the chat.
Yeah, but guys, we're talking about a 6-game sample. Before that, they sucked. You know? But
yeah, well, see, here's the problem. Like, yeah, there are going to be games like this throughout the season, definitely. I'm not excusing that, but like Portland's in a position where they can't afford to have games like this. Like, they have to show up every game. That's not saying you have to win every game, but I mean, like, you can't just give up a game in the middle of this stretch. But if you just take a step back, I mean, you're still have a really good record through this really tough stretch. So, yeah, it's just one game. So, like, I kind of understand some of their points to where, like it's not the end of the world to lose this game, but it's just frustrating with how we played. You knew the minute Dame didn't have a good game that if others didn't step up or the ball wasn't moving and we ran no sets at all, like nothing was going to happen. So it's just a little frustrating. Yeah. So that's why the ranting is occurring. But yeah, like Tori's been very steady with this. I have as well, that the right move all season has been that we need to trade Whiteside at the deadline. And, it's just frustrating because I don't think it's going to happen. So I think that's why you're a little more frustrated in your tone than normal, because know the writing's on the wall.
I mean, I'm frustrated with like stuff outside of, this channel and this team too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm human, guys. So, I mean, it's not, all based off this. Been kind of a tough week and a half, but it's just, I'm just scared we're not going to trade. We just need to, man. We need to. Like, I've thought about this so hard, and I just feel like we're going to get screwed up in the future because we're going to overreact to a 6-game sample size. That's just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with me. You guys can want to keep Whiteside. I'm not even going to sit here and say you're wrong, because, stuff might play out in the future where you end up being right. I don't know. Just from what I can gather at this point, we shouldn't be making or basing decisions off of 5 or 6 games. I know we got Ariza after that, and people were saying, oh, well, look, this team looked completely different with Ariza. Yeah, well, Dame was averaging 50 points per game, and that's going to have a much bigger impact on the way we play than switching Kent Bazemore out for Trevor Ariza. So I'm not putting too much stock into the 6-game run. We were playing better. We were, it was encouraging. It's fun. I wish we could play like that all the time. I think we could play like this a lot more. I thought we could play that style of basketball before we got Ariza. I thought we could play like that early in the season. That's why I was hard on Stotts. That's why I was on the team in the way I was. You know what I mean? I just don't have the confidence that they'll keep it consistent. It's just kind of like it peaks and it valleys. And last year, I feel like it kind of peaked at the right time during playoffs, and we had some guys that played out of their mind. Rodney Hood, CJ carried us, and we had the easiest road we've ever had. Part of that was having a good regular season, but even if it peaks, man, I still don't think this team's good enough to beat the Lakers. And if we're in one of these valleys, we're not consistent. If we're in one of these valleys, like, we're probably going to get swept if we're playing like how we played tonight, right? So, or how we did before we got Ariza. So, I don't know. It's a tough situation to be in.
the other two games against LA, other than the last one, we got blown out, right? So I know we came back at the end of one of them, cut it to like 7 or something, but it hasn't really gone great for us other than Dame going ballistic in the second half of that last game. But just reading through chat. So Bertans, Washington keeps saying he's not available and that they're keeping him. So I don't think that's going to be an option, especially just for our. I mean, he does fit in the trade exception, but I doubt they would trade him just for that. Or, I mean, you probably at best case scenario would be like our first round pick for him, and I don't know if that's worth it considering he's a free agent after the season and all that stuff. That could be a trade, just like keeping Whiteside. That only helps you for this season. Zacho said people trashed Olshey for the Ariza trade and the Whiteside trade, and then switched up and say they make the team a contender. Yeah, that's kind of a frustrating part too, is that like so many people who have been bashing Whiteside all year are the same people now who say we can't trade Whiteside. But yeah, we are kind of stuck because none of our other bigs are healthy yet. So we do need some sort of option. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens over these next couple of days. I have a feeling it's going to be nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know if you saw, but Little got hurt at the end of the game.
It looked like I saw people talking about it.
It looked like a high ankle sprain. He immediately grabbed his ankle, and then he was holding his knee area. But like,
I mean, like if it's an ankle sprain where he's out a couple weeks, this is like the perfect time. You know, there is no good time to have it, but if you're gonna have that, now is a good time with the All-Star break on the horizon. Thing is, we do get Scal back, and Little probably wouldn't play once we get Scal back and Nurkic back, and keep Whiteside and have Melo. You know what I mean? That's 4 front court players. So and Ariza can play some small ball for us, so I think he was going to get shuffled out of the rotation anyway. We've seen how Stas has been with him this year. It just sucks that we have another guy get down. Hopefully it's not anything more serious than just an ankle sprain.
And there's a lot of chat talking about Andrew Wiggins right now. Wiggins is not a good player, and he's locked up on a max for three more seasons after this one. The guy averages 22.4 points per game on 18.8 shots per game. That's terrible. He's not efficient. He doesn't rebound well for his size.
We need 3-and-D guys. We need guys that can defend.
He's a horrible defender. He's a career. Let me look up what his career 3-point shooting percentage is. He's a career 33.2% 3-point shooter, 33% this year. After everyone, that was including a hot start where everyone thought he had changed into a different player, come back to earth. His career true shooting percentage is 52.1%. He's been a negative defender every single season he's been in the league. Why would you want that out of max contract? Like, I just don't understand why.
Anybody who wants Wiggins, what I ask them is, do you guys think he's a good defender? And if not, then why do you want to add a bad defender? Because right now we're one of the worst defenses in the entire league. Even after adding Ariza, who I think is a better defender than Bazemore, we're still giving up 120 points per game with Ariza, and that's with the leading shot blocker in the NBA, who everybody wants to keep. So if our defense is that bad, even though we have a good defender in Ariza, good rim protector in Whiteside, so it shouldn't be that bad, but it is, you know. But why would you want to, like, Wiggins would probably be the small forward, and he's a big defensive downgrade. Like, why do we... Yeah. Why do we want to add guys who aren't good defenders? You know, I don't understand that.
And there's a reason why Golden State is making them add like multiple first-round picks to this trade if they want to ditch Wiggins on them. And Golden State doesn't want Wiggins. They already are paying Steph Curry a super max. Clay's getting a max, and Draymond's pretty much at a max.
I mean, there's going to be a trade where Capella goes to the Hawks and Covington goes to the Rockets. I think that's going to happen at this point.
The Hawks.
Yeah, I mean, like, who knows if
you said
Capella goes to the Hawks and Covington goes to the Rockets. Yeah, that's gonna. I think that's gonna happen at this point. Who knows if Minnesota tries to offload Wiggins as part of that deal? They're still trying to get Russell, but who knows if they're able to land him because Minnesota's been kind of delusional about this whole thing. But I think what's going to end up happening is Wiggins is going to stay put, and Minnesota's going to trade Covington to Houston. Houston's going to trade Capella to the Hawks, and then the Hawks are going to end up trading draft picks to Minnesota. And basically, right now, Minnesota is trying to work in those picks they're getting from Atlanta. They're trying to send that to Golden State as part of a package for D'Angelo Russell. But I honestly like what their asking price I don't know. It doesn't seem like Minnesota values Russell enough, and Golden State doesn't want Wiggins for good reason. He doesn't fit what they want to do. He doesn't fit in a good brand of basketball. He's an inefficient ISO scorer that doesn't play defense. He's improved his passing, but he still doesn't play defense, doesn't shoot threes well. So he's not a fit on our team. So in the end, I don't think Wiggins gets moved. I think it ends up just being a 3-team trade with Covington to Houston, Capella to Atlanta, and then Atlanta sending assets back to Minnesota.
Actually, there are rumors that Denver's now involved.
For who?
And they'd be... Well, I don't know what they're getting out of it, but it was rumored that they're possibly sending Beasley and Hernan Gomez, or one of those two, or maybe some other combination of players, to Atlanta, just so they get some young players out of this, and then maybe Atlanta gives up a better pick in that, or maybe a couple second rounders or something. But I don't know what the Nuggets would get out of it, but it's just rumored that
they have been shopping Malik Beasley.
Yeah, it says they want a first-round pick for him.
That's a little... I don't know. When you think about, like, they drafted him 20th, and he's kind of been, like, solid, you know what I mean? But you can't... I don't think you can expect a first back for him unless it's, like, the 30th pick, 29th pick maybe. But even then, it's like people want first because it's a chance at a really good player. And if you're getting Malik Beasley, that dude's probably never going to be, like a really good player, you know. The thing is, if you have the 27th pick, you have a chance, even though it's small, you still have a chance again, like a Pascal Siakam or hitting the lottery, basically. And teams would rather have that chance of hitting the lottery than trade that chance for just another role player, because those aren't hard to find. Yeah. So that's why the asking price is too much for them on Malik Beasley. That's why they won't. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But the asking prices of teams this year has been so high. And part of the reason why I wonder that is I think it might be the case where a bunch of teams don't think this draft is that good. So in normal years, they'd be asking for maybe an early second for some of these guys. And now they're asking for a first because they think that the value of these draft picks aren't as high because the draft isn't as good. That's kind of what I'm wondering here. But the thing is, like, some teams might value this draft more than others. I think there's a wider spread of opinions on how good this draft is. Therefore, different teams evaluate first-round picks or value first-round picks differently. So you got a lot of – I think that's why there might not be a ton that happens, is because teams don't value first-round picks the same. So one team is like, oh, I want a first-round pick that back for this guy. And the other team's like, hell no, I'm not giving you a first-round pick for Malik Beasley. I'm not giving you 2 first-round picks for Robert Covington. So I think that's kind of where teams are at right now.
Denver's also apparently made Gary Harris very available, according to Chris Manning. I don't know.
You got a bunch of targets here that I didn't expect to be available, but a lot of them are still guards or forwards that don't fit what we need. You know, there's not many forwards that fit what we need that are available. So, I mean, that's why some people say, oh, that's why you keep Whiteside. But we need contracts to trade during the summer or next year so we can take the next step. That's the thing. Is any of you who's new to this channel, I've talked about this a lot, but some of you guys might not know, if we keep Whiteside, right, he either leaves in the offseason, we resign him on a 1-year deal and he has a no-trade clause, or we resign him on a multi-year deal and teams don't want to trade for his contract. So either way, if he stays past this trade deadline, I don't think Hassan Whiteside is going to be a trade asset whatsoever. Like, he's either going to veto a trade because if he wants to I mean, maybe he pouts or whatever if he's on a 1-year contract, but he's probably going to veto a trade. You know, it's going to be tough to trade him, especially if you're trading him to a rebuilding team to try and get like a good player back. It doesn't make sense to keep us on Whiteside because he's not going to be an asset to trade in the future, and then he ends up being a backup center. You know, when we have guys like Collins and Scal who can be a serviceable backup center, and we could trade Hassan Whiteside out and go get a cheap backup center. You know, there's a lot of Please don't read my trade suggestion in the mailbag. Thanks. Yeah, I need to put that out tomorrow. But basically the thing is like, okay, so if we keep Whiteside, our only asset to trade this summer that has a decent salary outside of Dame, CJ, and Nurk is Ariza. So if we keep Ariza, he's like a $13 million expiring. Outside of that, Hood has a player option. Probably won't accept him until free agency. Even if he does, I wouldn't want to give up on Hood given his salary. So basically, if we're trying to if somebody becomes available that's making $25 million or $30 million and we could actually make a huge upgrade to win next season, we wouldn't be able to match salary. Because even with Hood and Ariza don't match it. We just wouldn't have the salary to send outside of Dame, CJ, and Nurkic. So I want to trade Whiteside for a traded player exception and or a big traded player exception hopefully, or get a 2-year contract because that contract would be expiring. We could toss him on top of Ariza or trade him himself. Like a Gorgie Jang would be $16 million expiring in the summer and then at the deadline too. So that's the thing, is us playing well over this 6-game stretch. Now everybody's talking about keeping Whiteside, but it sacrifices future flexibility. We won't be able to make a real upgrade. We're basically almost locking ourselves into, hopefully we can keep us on Whiteside because this is the roster we have. And then even if we do, we can't trade him because it's either a 1-year no-trade clause or a multi-year contract. So then we're stuck at the deadline next year talking about, we don't have the assets to trade for a guy who's available that would take us to the next step. And it wouldn't be like picks or prospects. It'd be, we just don't have the contracts to match salary. If that makes sense. So, I don't know. It's just, that's what's so frustrating about all this, man.
Yep. Real quick, Henry M. said, would you trade Collins? No, he's hurt. His value is low. You don't. Same reason you wouldn't trade Nurk this year. They're more valuable to us potentially in the future than value in a trade right now because you wouldn't really get full value for either of them. So it'd be kind of dumb. But yeah, Randall Pink Floyd said Otto Porter Jr. is possibly available. We've been saying that all year. But yeah.
I haven't seen any reports on him, though.
He's saying he did see one today. Okay. That's what. He read that Otto Porter Jr. is available. That's what he said. We got a Denver fan in there. Lillard needs to come to Portland if he wants to ring.
Come to Denver.
Or come to Denver.
As if he didn't just beat Denver in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys need Dame, though. That's the thing. You guys don't have anybody like Dame. That's why you're saying Dame needs to go there, because you guys aren't going to win anything with Jokic as your best player. You guys might make it to the Western Conference Finals, but you guys aren't winning the championship with Jokic as your best player. So, yeah, if you just add Dame to that team, sure, they probably would go win a championship. But that's the thing, is you guys aren't built to win a championship right now. Neither are we. So I don't want to hear it, man. Jokic will never. I could sit here and say Jokic will never win in Denver because he ain't winning a championship in Denver. That's the flat out truth. So Jokic needs to come to Portland. This is just like don't be dumb like that, man. And if you keep talking like this, I'll just ban you. I don't care. What were you saying?
So back to the Minnesota, Houston, Atlanta situation. I don't know if you saw my suggestion for it earlier today on Twitter. And I don't know why they keep talking about Wiggins instead of this. So basically, Golden State would get Jang and Jabari Parker or whatever contract around that salary is, but Jang fits into their exception for trading Iguodala. So they basically create I think it's near $22 or $23 million exception for that they could use for a year. Plus they'd pick up like 3 first-round picks possibly in that trade. And then they wouldn't have to take on Wiggins too on top of that. And then the Rockets get Alex Len and Robert Covington. So you're basically trading Capella and a first for Len and Covington. And then the Hawks get Capella. So you're trading a first for Capella and Len and Parker. And then the Timberwolves get Russell and some sort of minimum contract like Cephalosha or someone else. And it gets the Warriors completely out of the tax this year too, so they avoid the repeater tax for next year. and the Rockets stay just under the tax line, and the Hawks and T-Wolves aren't close enough for it to matter. So, but I think that works for all 4 teams. So I don't know why that's not getting more traction, or if Golden State just really likes Russell that much, where they're not willing to get 3 first-round picks for him. But
I mean, this trade deadline could be the most boring trade deadline in years. I know I shouldn't say that because I'm trying to hype up a trade deadline stream, but I mean, something will happen. We'll have it covered, and it'll be entertaining. The anticipation on the stream will be fun and all that, and we can react to stuff that goes down live together. That'll be a lot of fun. But I'm just worried. It's not. There's not going to be many fireworks, and we're just going to stand pat.
Yeah.
And, I'll rant if we stand pat, man. You guys want another rant? I'll rant if we stand pat.
What's up, Bruce Davis?
What's up, Bruce?
So Henry M says you guys want to trade for an injured Otto Porter, but you don't want to trade Collins, who is injured. Well, this goes back to my point. That's exactly right. That you got it nail on the head. The reason is because Otto Porter Jr. is hurt, so his value is super low right now. And that's exactly why I wouldn't trade Otto Porter Jr. if I was Chicago, but that might be the reason why they're trying to get rid of him, because they're dumb and they don't want to pay him $27 million next year. In the case of Collins and Nurk, I mean, their contracts are super reasonable. So I kind of understand Chicago wanting to get out of that contract. They've been a notoriously cheap franchise. But if Otto Porter was healthy and playing well, there's no way we have a chance to get him right now for anything less than expiring contracts like we possibly could right now. I mean, they might even throw in a second-round pick to get us to take him at this point. Whereas if he was healthy, we'd have to throw in probably a first or some other sort of asset just to get him from Chicago. And so it's not the situation like I understand the Blake Griffin thing where, I mean, he may be done, like shot for his career. He might not ever be the same. So like that would be too big of a risk. But with Otto Porter Jr., he's still young enough to where, I mean, this foot problem is a new thing. It's not like it's been hampering him for years. And it's not like we don't have 2 guards on our team that both had foot problems in college or earlier in their careers too, that recovered from that. So it is possible that it's just an outlier year for him. But if he's healthy, he could really help this team. And that's why you go after guys, you buy low, sell high.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You buy low, you don't sell low. You buy low, you don't sell low. Trading Collins would be selling low on Collins. Trading for Otto Porter Jr. would be buying low on him because they have injuries, so their value's low. That's how I was gonna phrase it.
But yeah, I mean, it's not gonna happen, so I'm not gonna get too worked up on it.
If Olshey was offered Otto Porter Jr. straight up for Whiteside and he didn't take that, I no trust left in Olshey whatsoever. My trust is already low. Eric knows this. I have not been critical. I don't think I've been critical on Olshey once this year, except for Hazonia versus Laban. But I didn't speak too heavily on that. I made a whole video about that. That was kind of a summer thing. But before this summer, Eric, you remember how critical I was of Neil Olshey? Yeah. I was possibly more critical of Neil Olshey than I was of Terry Stotts. Okay? But like that just goes to show you I'm not like biased against those guys. It's not that they can't change my mind because I've been defending Olshey all year. If Neil Olshey was offered Otto Porter Jr. for Hassan Whiteside and he did not take that, there would be no leeway left. He would have no chance of ever regaining my trust because that's just such a lack of foresight. Because
even with the what if he said they got their medicals or something and they just didn't feel comfortable about it?
Even then, because he's I mean, if he can't play at all, then okay, maybe. But the thing is, next year, or this offseason, he's a $27 million expiring contract. It might be hard to trade him during the offseason because, teams want to make other moves. But if there's a team out there with the cap space, there's going to be a team that strikes out. It might be, New York or somebody. Then we can trade him as part of a 3-team deal. I think if like New York still has $30 million of cap space left over, it seems like they're trying to put together a decent team. Then they might take Otto Porter Jr. and we could get an upgrade somewhere else if one's available. You know what I mean? It prevents us with just a little bit more flexibility this offseason than if we have a free agent. But then the bigger part of it is, okay, you go into next year, if he's healthy, he really helps his team. He helps his team more than Hassan Whiteside does, because I'd rather have Nurkic playing near 30 minutes a game, and Otto Porter, a 3-and-D guy, elite three-point shooter, and he can defend well. I'd rather have him playing 30 minutes a game and Nurkic playing 30 minutes a game than Nurkic and Whiteside averaging 24 minutes a game amongst each other. You know what I mean? And then, if Otto Porter doesn't play or whatever, if he's hurt, he's a $27 million expiring contract next year, so we'd be in a position where we could flip him into a big upgrade, which is what this team is ultimately going to need. So this trade deadline is about how do we set ourselves up for that big-time upgrade. Keeping Whiteside is the opposite of setting ourselves up for that big upgrade. So that's the thing. It's like Otto Porter could be that big upgrade, and if he doesn't play, then he could help us get that big upgrade. So that's why that deal makes sense even if he's hurt. That's why I won't trust Olshey if he turned down that deal, because he wouldn't have the proper foresight. This dude has shown us, he can't make the big move. He can't make the big trade. You have GMs elsewhere that have been able to make the big trade, right?
The only thing I would say to that is,
he hasn't had the contracts in the past to really do a whole lot.
Maybe he was told this year he could go for it and spend whatever he needed to spend to win, and then we got off to the bad start, and then he was told next year he's got to be more financially responsible, and putting that contract on the books next year would basically guarantee we'd be at the luxury tax or over it if we kept Ariza. So that's the only thing I can think of as an out to where maybe they just want to clear and get closer to the cap instead of always fighting the luxury tax every year. So that would be the only argument that I can think of as to why he would turn that down, knowing that it was a good basketball move or decision for the future.
Trade just went down. The trade that I said was going to go down just went down. Let me log on to Twitter. Let me read it off for you guys because my phone just died at the worst time. That Capella.
I got you.
I got it. So let me break it. You can break the next one.
Okay.
4-team trade agreement. Robert Covington is being sent to the Houston Rockets. Clint Capella and Nene are going to Atlanta. Malik Beasley and Juan Hernangomez is being sent to Minnesota.
With Evan Turner
and a first-round pick. Okay. So they get another former Blazer. Another one. They have 5 of them. And then Denver gets Gerald Green and Houston's first-round pick. So they did get a first-round pick for Malik Beasley and Juan Hernangomez. They flipped Malik Beasley into a first-round pick. And the thing is, Houston's 6th. So that's a first-round pick around 20.
I wonder what the protections are on it.
Yeah, but wow. So Minnesota settled for Malik Beasley as their young player, which actually I like that pickup for them. They don't really have much talent on the wings, in my opinion. They got Culver. They got a lot of projects. So Malik Beasley could end up being a good get.
How are they taking on 3 for 1?
They probably
I wonder if they're just going to cut someone. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll probably waive Graham, and they'll waive.
What? So isn't Gerald Green out for the year, or is he on pace to come back?
He is out for the year. Actually, he might come back in playoffs, but I think Gerald Green was just Denver's trading 2 players, needed a player, just getting a player back, and I think Houston probably had to send him out. And no, I don't know.
See, now this goes back to Minnesota pretty much has to trade Wiggins for D'Angelo Russell. They because they can't combine Evan Turner's contract with anyone, and they can't really provide salary relief or create that big exception I was talking about.
It would have to be Jang and
you'd have to do Jang, Culver, and Okogie or something. But yeah, so Houston just traded Capella and a first-round pick for Robert Covington, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
They're trying to do it without, and they traded Nene, who was one of their only.
Yeah,
I know Nene isn't good, but Now they only have Tyson Chandler and
Ice.
I'm blanking on his name. The Hartenstein.
They need.
Those are the only two players that have over 6'6" on their roster now, I think.
They need a stretch five. You know what I mean? They need, like, you know who would be perfect for them? Kelly Olynyk would be perfect for them. Like, that's who they need, really. But, dude, I don't know. They're so thin at that position. Or like an Aaron Baines, just a center that can shoot threes, just to spread things out. I mean, Covington, I think, fits their style of play better. The problem with them now is they don't have that lob target for the pick and roll that they run. You know what I'm saying? Like, James Harden is able to, like, get downhill because he's a good lob passer and he had a huge lob target in Capella. Now, they don't really have that. You know, maybe it's Hartenstein, but, like, he's not Capella. Capella's athletic is a top-notch lob target, in my opinion, so they lose that. They do game perimeter defense. They get a guy to guard LeBron, to guard Kawhi, or whatever. But overall, they need, I don't know, they need a center that can either shoot or be a lob target there, in my opinion, and they're going to struggle if they don't have that.
Hey, we can trade for Evan Turner now. He's been on another team.
We can get back a lot of former players, man. Return to our glory days, right?
Yeah, but I have to think that he's a potential buyout candidate. But we could sign him in the buyout market.
Yeah. I'm gonna put together this thumbnail. I'm gonna change the title of this stream to the trade alert type of stuff that I've been doing.
Yeah. There we go. Bates Diop is headed to Denver as well. That's how they get the extra roster spot.
Okay. Interesting.
But yeah, Rockets are going for the first team ever to win the 6'6" and under league, only in the NBA, not like in a separate league.
How am I gonna put this thumbnail together with 4 teams? That's what I'm really wondering right now.
Work your magic,
I know,
man.
I'm gonna work my magic right now, guys. Chat, what do you guys think about this trade? Who do you think it's a good move for Houston? Let's start off there. I want to hear chat's feedback. Do you think it's a good move for Houston? Do you think it's a bad move? Do you think it's kind of meh for them? What were you gonna say, Eric?
Okay, if you were Minnesota, would you have rather had 2 first-round picks, or would you rather have Beasley, Hernan-Gomez, and a first?
2 first-round picks or Beasley, Hernan-Gomez, and a first? So like,
because they basically, because the trade earlier today was rumored that Atlanta would send a pick. It's most likely going to be the Brooklyn pick, and then Houston would send a first. And then they would use those picks to send to Golden State. But now it looks like those talks are off with Golden State. But so, like, if you were just trading Covington, would you rather have like an expiring contract, Evan Turner's expiring, and the 2 first-round picks, or would you rather have Beasley and Hernan-Gomez?
That's tough, man.
In a first.
That's tough. So I'd rather have the 2 first, probably, depending on what year they're in. If they're in this year, if it's like a late first-round pick, I kind of see like Beasley versus a late first-round pick is kind of a wash to me.
Yeah, I think the like I said, the Atlanta first, I'm guessing, is the Brooklyn pick this year. I want to say the Houston pick has to be this year. I'm not sure on that. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Okay, there we go. Trade.
I like this move from Minnesota. Their value they got for Covington, but if they don't get D'Angelo Russell, I think it's going to be a huge fail for them because they're not going anywhere unless they upgrade and get another star that's better than Wiggins on that team. So, like I really don't know if it helps them that much.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm gonna let chat see me put together this thumbnail because why not? You guys can watch my magic firsthand. What were you saying?
Have you seen the? When Kat was out, like, and Jang started, they had like the #1 defense in the NBA. Over that stretch.
Did they? Yeah, Kat's just not a good defender, man.
And since he's been back, they're back to like 26.
That's why they should. That's why they should cash in on his value. They could get a lot of value for him. And I don't know, like you can't win a. I don't think you can win a championship with a center as your best player, especially if that center can't defend. You know what I mean? Like maybe with Anthony Davis as your best player, but I mean we saw Anthony Davis struggle in New Orleans, so
I mean he barely made the playoffs even.
So that's the problem there. That's the problem with that. So I don't know. So like he would get especially since there's no stars available. They could get a lot. You know, they could get a lot for him.
Okay, so Houston, the pick they own next year is a pick swap, so it wouldn't matter because they'd still have a first, so that's why they can still trade their first this year. I thought maybe that was out going to Oklahoma City, but the picks they traded to them weren't till 2024 and 2026, which I'm assuming is exactly why they did that, so they could still make a trade to upgrade this year and not have that affect them. But they're going to be a really tough situation moving forward with running out of picks here. And if this roster doesn't get it done, or if it's a disaster having Covington on that roster.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. That was like I feel like that might be the biggest trade of the trade deadline. I'm hoping not. But, sorry.
What do you think about Atlanta getting Capella?
I mean, they wanted a center. They didn't. So what'd they give up to get him? Brooklyn's first round pick?
I haven't seen the specifics in the first. If anyone sees that information, if you could pass it along. But they gave up a first and Evan Turner, I think.
Interesting. It's not horrible. It's not horrible. I don't know. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. It depends on exactly where that Brooklyn pick is. But 17th, 18th pick in a weak draft, and they get a pretty good center, a guy they wanted. They're trying to take the next step. It's solid. You know, I think
his contract's reasonable too.
Honestly, you know what I think? I think if Bradley Beal ever comes available, I think that's going to be the team to trade for them. They got a lot of good young prospects. They have future picks, and they're trying to like take that next step. And how good would that team be next year if they had Trae Young, Bradley Beal, second year of what's his face, DeAndre Hunter, and they also had John Collins and Capella. I think that's a pretty good starting lineup. I think that'd be a playoff team in the East, and I think that's what they're trying to be next year.
Yeah, Capella and Collins is an interesting front line, but I've heard rumors that they're shopping Collins too, or teams are calling for Collins.
I don't know if I believe that, to be honest.
I guess Jordan Bell's going to Houston.
Interesting.
So there's your guy over 6'6".
That's gonna be their center, I guess. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to focus on this thumbnail, but it's hard to put this thumbnail together and make it look good. Because like the theme I used before had like two teams, you know what I mean? Now I'm like trying to fit 4 logos in. I'm gonna have to make it look good. What was the other team? It was Atlanta. Oh, Denver. Okay. It
is the Nets pick, and it's unless they change the protections, I think it was lottery protected. So Brooklyn's in like the 7th or 8th spot in the East right now, which would be somewhere between 15 and 17, depending on. But yeah, they have their pick too, which is going to be pretty high. So they could afford to get rid of that one.
Yeah. Little random note. I hate the Rockets logo, bro. I hate it's so hard to work with graphics and stuff, man. It's so hard to work with. Just because it's just like it's just shaped weird. You know what I mean? I got 3 circle logos here, and I got a Rockets logo. It's not easy to work with. I want to erase the whole thing. Yeah, if you get any more info on that.
So CB is saying Houston, Minnesota, Denver, Atlanta. I think he's saying Atlanta did the best, Denver did the second best, Minnesota did the third best, and Houston did the worst, or am I reading that backwards?
Yeah, rank them. Rank the teams in this deal. I'm curious. And Eric, let me know what they're saying. I'm not really tuned into chat. I'm trying to make this thumbnail. That's why I wanted somebody that could maybe do graphics for us for our trade deadline stream, but I don't think we'll have any, so I won't show it live, you know what I mean? But like you could break down rumors and stuff
Yeah.
and that type of stuff.
M. Sotolo, Denver traded Hernan Gomez and Malik Beasley and ended up with a first-round pick, and I think just scraps whatever filler.
Yeah, that's kind of a dub for them.
Shane, Atlanta didn't get Covington. It was Houston that got Covington.
Glad we had a trade go down. What's with these late night trades though?
Yeah.
Like people in Atlanta
At least
are
they
like
got it.
midnight. Imagine going live at midnight. Like we got a trade. We don't have to worry about that here on the West Coast, but
Got our mind out that dumb game.
I know. God, I don't even want to think about that dumb game, man. Sheesh.
Is that true, Scalabrini? Minnesota's trading Napier to Denver.
Jeez, how many players?
Vanderbilt to the Wolves.
Bro, the people that like don't like trade suggestions are always like, "How 10-player deal for team never happens." Well,
I don't know how they do that because who's going to play point for? They didn't get a point guard in that trade. They got Evan Turner. I guess you could play kind of point, but
yeah.
Or is that? Maybe they really think they're getting Russell then.
Hey, they might. I mean, but Wiggins does not fit. He doesn't fit Golden State. That's the thing. He doesn't shoot threes. He doesn't defend. I mean, maybe they like, with how they move, if they could get him moving, he could be like a lethal cutter. You know what I mean? But maybe they think they could get him to buy in. It's just like they're not in a position to like have to. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like he's a worse fit for them than D'Angelo Russell is. I think. So
maybe they'll go back to the multi-team trade and find someone to take Wiggins on.
Yeah.
Oh, another interesting side note. Would you take Kevon Looney?
He just seems like somebody who once he got out of Golden State, he would just be like the most mediocre big ever. You know what I mean? Like Jordan Bell is one of those guys. So, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Apparently they're just trying to salary dump him. I don't know if you'd have to give up like a second rounder or something for him.
Like
but
if we traded Whiteside for something, could be a good like service.
He's got a pretty reasonable contract. It's like if I remember correctly, it's 4 something this year, 4 something next year, and a player option for 5 something 2 years from now or something. So not too bad. Yeah, Jared Vanderbilt on his way.
Jeez, more players get thrown in this. What in the world? So how many players is that in this trade?
Evan Turner said he knew all day.
Really? Of course he's the one to come out and say, "Oh, I knew this all day." He's so outspoken. That's funny.
Well, let's see. Bell, Vanderbilt, Napier. Just like 10 at least, I think.
Jeez, it's kind of crazy.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11 so far.
Jeez, man. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew there was going to be some other parts to that or something was going to happen because, like I said, the roster spot situation. Minnesota cleared a roster spot when they did that other trade with Atlanta where they sent Teague and whoever the other throw-in was to that trade. Vonleh to Denver, too.
Is chat trolling?
Are you serious?
Like...
That was Zacho, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
I don't trust Zacho, man.
Scalabrini did it, too.
But, I mean, maybe he's telling the truth. I'm going to ask you guys not to, like, troll during...
Why didn't Vonleh go to... I would have rather had Vonleh if I was Houston. That he seems to fit. He would have fit much better.
Well, he's a former Blazer, and obviously Houston just wants former Blazers, so maybe they didn't want to part with him. Or not Houston, Minnesota just wants former Blazers, so maybe they didn't want to part with him.
No, he's going to Denver.
Oh.
There's a 12th player.
They were actually serious about that. Like this seems like a meme. Like this trade's just gonna get bigger and bigger until like they're literally trading entire teams.
Yeah, every player on every trade is gonna.
The Rockets or the Nuggets lose, the Timberwolves win, or actually the Hawks win. Depends on who got each roster, I guess.
Chief and not ignoring you. We're just trying to find out all these
I'm
details.
also trying to
It's
make
hard.
this thumbnail. Chat sees me struggling with this Rockets logo. See, we got 3 circles and we got whatever the hell this Rockets logo is. Like, how do you fit that in with 3 circles and make it look good? You know what I mean? I'll just put the players in now, actually. Desktop trade deadline. All right, there we go. We got Capella. Bring him forward. You guys are getting a first-hand look at me creating thumbnails. Welcome to the grind. Gonna try to have this done by 5:45. That's the goal.
9:45.
9:45. 6 minutes.
You said 5:45.
Dude, I can't even. I'm so yeah. I can't even focus right now. No, don't select his head. I'm not trying to cut off Clint Capella's head.
I'm trying to follow chat, Josh.
Yeah, I'm making a thumbnail because I'm gonna change this to like trade reaction. We'll get some more people in here probably.
So Denver had traded their first-round pick for Jeremy Grant. Now they picked one back up again.
So basically, Jeremy Grant has, I don't know, his advanced stats aren't good this year, but his like normal stats are.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I don't really know what's up with him. Okay, that's not.
Man, I'm disappointed in you. You should have had a picture of all 12 players in this trade.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna include every player. That'd take way too long. And this is gonna be like a rough little edit job on this dude's hair here, but.
Now that Clay's is back, we could talk about something else real quick while you do that. So, the NBA liked your idea for the 3-point shootout.
It was only 2 shots, though. That's what sucks about that. But I felt like they would do something like...
It's kind of cool that they changed a little bit.
Yeah. In 3 points, yeah. My whole idea was same amount of shots, and just, like, split it up a little bit and have, like, so maybe in the future, but... I do like that they added 2, because that's like a big wild card. I don't know if they're shooting. Are they shooting them at the end, or what are they doing there?
I heard they're giving them 10 more seconds, so I'm assuming that would be the end.
Okay.
Okay. But it's just like 1 shot from 2 spots, but I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Gotcha.
Randall Pink Floyd, the price didn't really drop to 1 first for Covington because they basically just sent their first out for Beasley and Hernan Gomez. So that's why we were talking earlier about whether you'd rather have those 2 players or the 2 firsts. But they really did get 2 firsts out of it. They just decided to flip one of them to Denver.
Yeah.
But Shabazz, people are saying Shabazz is a good player, and he is, but him and Monte Morris are kind of the same player. So I don't know if that makes a lot of sense for them. Maybe they have another trade with Morris involved. Alvaro, our defense sucked, and no ball movement.
We're talking trade right now, man. We got a trade alert. I'm making the thumbnail live on stream. Trying to make it fast, but it's a bit of a struggle.
Brian, I wasn't questioning if you were lying. It's just sometimes chat just
especially Zacho, because Zacho's always like trolled and it's always entertaining. But like when it's like by a trade, it's like, oh, is Zacho telling the truth or is Zacho being Zacho? Can't tell. That's the problem when you're Zacho and you're always sarcastic.
Yeah, Randall, I wouldn't have given up a first for Beasley. He's someone that could have fit into the hood disabled player exception. But yeah, when I found out they were wanting a first for him, I knew that was going to be too much. But apparently Minnesota didn't think so, and then they're going to overpay him this summer when he's a restricted free agent. So that's just how bad teams do business.
Yeah, I wouldn't have traded for Capella if I had them, actually, the more I think about it, because they are... Wait, you're saying Capella gets paid this summer? Does he?
No, I'm talking about Beasley.
Oh, Beasley, okay. I thought you said Capella, and then I was about to say, like, oh, yeah, they're going to have to pay him. That's a loss. But no, he's on a good contract, actually.
Yeah, Capella's contract goes up a few million over the next couple of years, but it's not bad at all.
Yeah. This thumbnail's gonna be messy, but I don't even care at this point.
Oh, so now Zacho says he doesn't troll during trade deadline week. How do we know that's not you trolling?
Exactly. I'd appreciate it if he doesn't troll, but
yeah, that'd be awesome.
But we have to wait and see there. I'd appreciate it if you guys don't troll, because I'd love it for chat to be like, watch bomb, this is the trade, and actually like be able to trust them and like believe them and like talk about it like with them reporting it. Obviously, I'll check back on things when I'm not making a thumbnail, but it'd be nice to be able to trust chat.
Tommy Thompson asks if this makes it easier to do a 3-team trade for Jang and someone else. If you're talking about from the Blazers' perspective, it pretty much kills any chance of a trade, because our only option is to trade out Whiteside, and that's not enough salary going out now for Jang coming back, and I doubt the combination of players they have left. I mean, they've traded like half their roster is now non-combinable with other players, so it's going to be really hard for them to make another trade if it's not Wiggins is the only one that really fits for that full amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see them trading like Culver, Okogie, and Jang for Whiteside. That's not going to happen probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, never knew if that was really even an option, because they don't need a center. No.
Tell Torrey to change the jersey.
No, that's way too much work. Oh, crap. That's way too much work. I have the jersey changed on Covington because I found a picture like that, but I...
Just put like a crappy, cut out a picture
that's not
with
even...
like the next one.
That's not even worth that at that point,
I know. I'm just teasing you.
But no, jersey swaps are tough. I'm going to have to just erase these.
Yeah, the Knicks, they didn't fire their GM. They fired their president of basketball operations. Yeah. Who knows what the Knicks are doing? I mean, they've been terrible.
Everybody's like, oh, they're finally figuring it out because they hired this guy, Steve Mills. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
And that's like, oh, he's fired. Oh, they're finally figuring it out because they hired David Fizdale. They finally got a good coach that they'll keep. Yeah, about that. What's the common denominator here? It's Dolan. It's the franchise. Like,
you know what I was actually thinking today?
What?
What if Phil Jackson wasn't a bad front office guy?
And it was just the...
And it was just the Knicks situation. Clint Capella's 25.
All that work on the Rockets logo just to not even have it in the thumbnail, whatever. Thumbnail. Let's go desktop trade deadline. Capella, Covington.
There's Iguodala.
What's up?
You got Iguodala.
Are you behind on the? How far is the stream behind?
Let me. There we go.
Stream. I want to get this display capture off.
R.I.P. Blazers. Please do not troll.
Yeah, don't troll for the trade deadline. I love your guys' trolling and your guys' personality and just you guys being yourselves on the stream and all that, but trade deadline, I want to be able to trust chat. You know what I mean? I want to be able to trust chat over the trade deadline, so yeah, that's too cool. That's too convenient too. Right? We're talking about we want Otto Porter and then they're talking about, God, I can't even focus on what I'm saying.
And I have Adrian's Twitter feed on one of my pages up on my computer. So like, yeah, that's lame, man.
It's all good. You guys are seeing the whole inner workings on everything here. I got you.
Shout out to AH for the $2 donation.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Appreciate it, bro. Do you say anything with it?
Mellow stay, come on, guys. Seriously, like this is.
I will throw out bans if you guys are, like troll. Don't be scared to say anything, but like if you guys repeatedly troll, I'll be able to tell, and I'll throw out 300-second bans until you guys stop, because it's not something I want to be dealing with. It just kind of mucks everything up, and then I can't trust anybody, and I want to be able to trust chat.
Yeah.
Should I put trade alert first? Trade alert dash Covington to Rockets.
Just do it like you've been doing. Yeah, whatever. AH says he got flagged on Blazers Edge for calling out somebody's comment as being boring.
Oh. I'll change the title to this back after a couple days and put the post-game clip back up.
That Blazers Edge is weird because have you ever been to any of those like other sites that are, how like every team has a site on that one? Like Blazers Edge is just the Blazers part of that. Is that Bleacher Report or something like that?
Yeah, I think it's Bleacher Report.
Sports Nation or something like that.
Or Sports Nation. I don't know. I don't keep track of that. Except I know Fansider runs Rip City Project, which has gone down the drain since Stevie Cousins took that over, man. Though I didn't even get into that crap. But no, I will literally leak the DM that I saw that he's crying about Rip City Project. I will. It wasn't bad at all, and he's sitting here crying on that page. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I don't.
But
care.
like, they don't allow like anything on that site. Like you can't cuss, you can't do anything, or you go to other sites and there's all this like cussing and people like attacking each other and stuff. It's just kind of weird how some people run it so close to the vest.
Yeah, and meanwhile,
Brian Scalabrini, Lillard just hit us with we didn't make shots when you lost.
You
by
also
30s.
didn't play defense. Like, come on, man. Come on,
Eugene. We've been talking about it for like a half an hour.
Yeah, if you guys like hop into stream slate, try like for a couple minutes, maybe rewind it, like kind of scroll through the past like 10-20 minutes, see like if we've talked about something, and if like you can hear us talking about something, you have a question about it, like I don't know. People just jump in here and like don't even like pay attention, just like, oh, talk about trade or say this or ask us a question that we've been talking about for like 10 minutes. Just double check first, because
over under on a trade tonight, I'd say the over under is like 0.5%.
Yeah, 0.5%. So plus minus I don't even know.
I don't know if it's true or not, but someone said earlier that Stotts had the we didn't make shots thing too.
Take a shot every time Stotts does. Take a shot every time someone says we didn't make shots. We'll take shots for them. Because apparently they shouldn't be taking any shots if they can't make them. Capella to Atlanta. All right, there we go. All right, dope. We changed the name of the stream. We'll see if people start popping in here. I'll change it back. I'll change it back to just to have like consistency with the post game shows. I don't even know. I don't know if I'll change it back or not. I like having every trade covered too. That thumbnail turned out okay. What do you guys think? The colors of the trade alert kind of, I don't know. The first thumbnail I made for that, the colors matched the logos and you could tell, and I liked the way it looked. But this one is kind of just like all over the place because this trade is all over the place.
I'm actually kind of surprised because Beasley and Hernan Gomez played a lot tonight.
And then they get traded right after. Good game, guys. Good job. All right, see ya. Thanks for putting in one final game for us and helping us beat the Portland Trailblazers by 30. Peace.
They're probably like, we agreed to this trade, but we have no players. Kind of like us when we played OKC. Yeah. But we agreed to the trade before the game, so we had no one to play.
Henry M says Wiggins to Charlotte. Is that a rumor? Or if something's a rumor and you guys say Wiggins was rumored to go to Charlotte, instead of like, I'm not saying he is, so I'm not saying he said anything wrong. I'm just saying like if something's a rumor, instead of coming here and saying like Wiggins to Charlotte, would say like rumor dash Wiggins to Charlotte or something, because like if that's the actual rumor, I can't tell like if you're asking like a question about like what about that, or if you're saying like that's an actual rumor. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if something's like rumor and you're bringing it up, just say it's a like make sure to include that it's a rumor so we know it's a rumor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Rumors. Sorry. Okay, so that is a rumor. Because if it's like a rumor, we can really talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, no, you're fine. You didn't know. You didn't know, bro. I'm just like making that in the future, just so people know. I gotta say it. I just came up with that too, just so we can differentiate. Because when I saw that, I couldn't tell like, is that an actual rumor? But speaking of that, no, you didn't throw us off. You didn't throw us off. Just so we aren't confused in the future. You know what I mean? Also, if you make up fake rumors, also I'm not going to stand for that either. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, make them only say rumors if they're legit.
Yeah.
Let's try to be professional here, guys. But anyways,
professional YouTubers, bro. What do you expect?
you know what'd be hilarious is if Charlotte traded for Wiggins and Julius Randle
would be
in the next
such a Charlotte guy to go get.
And Julius Randle.
Honestly,
and they gave up like a bunch of their young guys.
Honestly, Charlotte could go out and just say, screw it, let's turn this team into a winner, and go out and get like Blake Griffin, Kevin Love, or not Blake Griffin. They could go out and get like Andre Drummond, Kevin Love, and maybe still have the assets to go get D'Angelo Russell, because that's the thing. Andre Drummond and Kevin Love have really no trade value, and those teams are trying to get rid of them. Watch Charlotte just be like, Devontae Graham's killing it. Screw it. Let's go try and get every player that teams don't want that is actually solid. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because you could get like 3-4 decent players.
Reed's talking crap about your camera quality.
What?
He just came in here talking crap.
It's 1080p 60 frames per second. What do you mean?
Maybe it's just because it's a little dark or something. I don't know.
I've always needed to fix my lighting, but it is kind of dark. Actually, my phone's just dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we all know that Miami wants to trade Dion Waiters.
Yeah, that's not a shock. But Charlotte getting Wiggins, that I feel like that might happen if Minnesota's trying to get rid of Wiggins. I feel like Charlotte would be the type to take him on and just have like Rozier overpaid, Wiggins overpaid. Try and get Andre Drummond too.
I was thinking about this today.
I'm gonna turn on this light in the background while you say this.
It would be kind of fun to take over the Knicks right now. I believe they have all their future first, and they have like a ton of like tradable pieces right now. You might not get a ton for those pieces, but it would be kind of fun to like take over a situation like that and just go NBA 2K and trade everyone for picks or something, and expiring contracts, and just try to rebuild it the way you want to build it. I know there'd never be someone like us that gets a chance to do that, but it'd be kind of fun.
I think we could be decent GMs in terms of like knowing how to evaluate players, and I don't know. I feel like there's some traits of being a GM like we could actually be passable at. I think I'd be a better GM than a better head coach, to be honest.
I don't think I'd be a good coach. I'd be a good assistant coach, I think, or just like a member of a staff. But yeah, it'd be a lot harder than being a GM, I think.
Yeah. Kyle says getting better lighting for the face cam would be a good addition to live streams. Yeah, it's just gonna cost me like $150. You know what I mean? And on a light, it's kind of tough at the moment. I will, make sure everything is top notch, like in the future. But
rumor of Alec Burks to Dallas. Maybe
Dallas.
Golden State would get their pick back. Maybe.
Why would Dallas get Alec Burks? Alec Burks has been putting up good numbers on a bad team. He's not that good. He's not better than any of their wings.
I think they're just looking for depth.
But they have a lot of wing depth. They got Finney-Smith. They have Doncic. They have Curry as like a small 2 guard. They have Hardaway. They have Justin Jackson. They have Brunson at point guard. Luka can play some point guard, so can Seth Curry. They got Barea as a backup point guard if you wanted to keep Doncic on the wing. Like, they got a lot of perimeter depth and a lot of guys that can play like multiple positions there. They don't need a guy like Alec Burks. I feel like I'm missing one of their wings too. DeLon Wright, who can play like the 1 or 2, might even have size to play the 3, and he's not getting minutes. Like, I don't know. Clyde's, dude, that's such a bad habit. I've been trying to stop doing that, but when I'm thinking hard or stressed about something, I do that, bro. I know that's a thing, man.
Yeah, you pick your beard a lot.
I do, bro. I need to shave it. Hey, I'm gonna shave tonight, just so I don't do it over trade deadline. I'm gonna shave. All right, you guys are gonna see clean shaven me.
I did that today too.
Yeah.
Austin Samuel says, I haven't heard a single Portland rumor. Have you guys? And that's because we're not going to make any trades.
I mean, but it always comes out of the blue. We never hear rumors.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we never hear legit rumors.
Yeah.
So anything we hear is just almost like speculation. If it's from Woj, then it might be O'Shea trying to like create some leverage somehow, if that makes sense. You like my beard, though? It'll grow back. Makes me look smart. Wow. You don't know what I look like without a beard, though, so... When have I not had a beard for you guys? I can't remember the last time. The last time was, like, July. For, like, a video in July. I think I've had a beard since July. So that's, like, literally 7 months.
You should just shave, like, your chin and then the sides and leave, like, a Fu Manchu.
Hell no.
For the live stream.
Hell no. Hell no. Man, so I wonder if Houston has something else up their sleeve, though. If they're going to try and get a center. Because they don't... Do they have any first-round picks they can trade left? Can't they trade their 2022 pick?
Yeah, they could. Yeah, but... I don't know what they would do.
Randall Pink Floyd says, I've seen high school pics to where you were hella skinny. I was hella skinny. I've shown you guys my high school highlights on here. And you guys could tell I was skinny, man. I was skinny. And then if you look at our 3-on-3 tape, a lot different. But yeah, you know what's funny is like the two teams leading the race for Covington was Houston and Philadelphia, and those were the two teams that had him in the past. Like, Covington started off in Houston as an undrafted free agent. Speaking of undrafted free agents, you know, I went on that rant a couple days ago about how Olshey does not work well around the edges and doesn't identify gems to go out and get. Robert Covington is another example. When has Olshey ever had a guy that was like an undrafted free agent that ended up being a role player? Because a lot of GMs actually have.
He tried with like Luis Montero and
Tim Quarterman, man.
And what was that other guy? Cliff something?
Cliff Alexander.
Yeah, Cliff Alexander. There you go. Those guys took up roster spots for a while.
Tim Quarterman took up a roster spot, man.
If only we had first round or the two ways back then, that would have been much better.
Yeah, that would have.
I don't know. Clays keeps asking about Drew Holiday. I don't know why.
He's not available.
New Orleans would trade him, and then why they trade him for CJ.
No.
I don't know. I don't think they would do that.
I mean, maybe they don't want too many players that need the ball in their hand. You know, that's the only reason I can see them trading Drew. But CJ is kind of a ball-dominant player. You know what I mean? So
kinda. Did you just say
he can play? I think he can play.
Player?
I don't know. I think he can play off the ball better than Drew because he's a better spot-up shooter. Like he's shooting like 47% on spot-up threes. So he is a ball-dominant player, but he can be better playing off the ball than Drew. But he still like is a ball stopper. You know what I mean? So he doesn't fit in that regard. Is what I'm trying to say. Even though like maybe he's better playing off the ball. Your reaction to that? I mean, he's ball dominant. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe with a different coach, he isn't as ball dominant. I don't know. He's only played under one coach. What would be the least value you would take for Whiteside? I'd do Whiteside for Jang straight up. And, like, if possible, obviously Minnesota would have to, like, do something else. And that's not really realistic. We're just talking hypothetical packages here. I'd do that and take the trade exception and take the 2-year contract next year and take the backup center. That's a $16 million expiring next year. People talking about getting value back for Whiteside. His value to us isn't, like... After this trade deadline, his value to us is a backup center that could help us get the 8th seed. And probably lose in the first round. Like, think about that. Does that really have that much value to us? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can't trade Whiteside unless you get back great value. What's value to us? Backup center helps us get the 8th seed and probably lose. So, I don't think that's that valuable. You know what I mean? So, and then he leaves in the offseason or he continues to be a backup center while he ages. Like, and who knows if then he'd probably be unhappy, but not easily tradable. I don't know. Like, it's probably, I don't think he has a ton of value to us in the future. Like, right now, at this point in time, he has value to us in terms of, like, we need a center, but Nurkic is going to come back. And at this point in the season, like, it's not a huge deal. I don't know. Getting the 8th seed is, like, it's kind of like, so what? You know what I mean? Cool, it's good for Dame. But what would be best for Dame is winning a championship in the future. So that's all I'm concerned about. I'm not concerned about, we got to get in the 8th seed. Whiteside for Love straight up, I would not do that because Love would lock us into that roster, and I don't think that roster is good enough to contend. I don't think that's the move we need. We already see how bad this defense is right now. If we trade for Love, replace Melo with Love, our defense isn't going to be that much better, if at all. We're still going to be giving up 120 points per game, not going to make a run, giving up 120 points per game.
Oh, so Chiefin was accusing us of ignoring him earlier, but he's back to watching Netflix while watching the stream because he's mentioning Luis Montero.
Who you just mentioned, yeah. I'd rather have Montero than Mario. Would you really? Mario isn't like a...
That's kind of funny,
Mario didn't have sex with a 14-year-old or whatever Montero went and did. I'm probably going to get the stream demonetized for mentioning that, but... You guys heard about that, right? You heard about that, Eric, right?
Wait, what was that, Montero or Quarterman?
No, that was Montero.
Because Quarterman got arrested.
Yeah,
too,
actually, I remember something about that. Yeah, so Neil's working around the edges. You have guys like Utah who go out and get Joe Ingles and go out and find a Royce O'Neal and do that. Meanwhile, O'Shea is hiring criminals who are in the league for a year and then they end up being in jail.
Clay's does bring up a good point, though, that Montero didn't have a player option for the next year. So.
True. God, man. Why did you have to give Mario a player option? Why was that needed? The dude's awful. Like, you couldn't have signed...
Well, yeah.
It's so stupid, bro. That was like the one big flaw this offseason. Guys, we could have Jake Layman. Jake Layman instead of Mario Hezonja. We gave up Jake Layman to get Mario freaking Hezonja, and people were telling me, that was a good move, man. I'm not, I should go back and just keep pounding that head to, saying I was right, you were wrong. But, like, God, I saw this happening. Like, I was, like, trying to tell you guys, this is going to happen. Don't get too excited over Mario. He's not going to come here magically be a different player. Like, he sucks. Like, I'd seen him, and I'd seen this. And just because he had 2 good games against a G League team, it was like, that didn't excite me as against a G League team and playing like 36 minutes, being allowed to do whatever he wants. You know what I mean? I've seen enough of him to know that he's just not a good player. And then he comes here, and it was just funny. People that I could tell hadn't really seen him play all that much just kind of looked up a couple highlight tapes where, like, he looked good in those highlights, but they're highlights of his best games of his career against G League teams. So, of course, he's going to look good. I'd seen him enough to know, like, this dude is just not good. I was trying to tell people, like, this dude's just not good. It was... Doesn't have a single good NBA skill.
I wish we had Layman.
God, man. On like a $3 million a year deal for like 2 years with like, I think he has a player option his third year. Yeah. It's not like he went off and signed for $10 million. If he signed for $10 million, then I'd kind of understand it. No, we didn't. We weren't willing to. We were not willing to pay him like $3.5 million a year. Instead, we're paying Mario $1.7 million a year. To be 10 times worse than Layman ever was.
Yeah, he has been injured most of the year, but who knows if he gets injured if he was still here.
You know what I mean? Like, And I'd still rather have an injured Layman than a playing Mario. So, God, man. Gave up Connaughton. Connaughton's kind of struggled lately, but, I mean, the thing is, Trent can... I think Trent is like our new version of Connaughton and just like that shooting guard, like second year starting to play a little bit more and then third year might have a decent role. I think that backup guard role will go to either Simons or Trent next year. I think one of them will play, one of them won't. That'll be interesting to see. But, yeah, no, man, just shouldn't have gave up Layman. Should not have. Because he can play the 3 or the 4. Mario with the 3 is rough. Because he can't shoot. So,
yeah.
But he also plays small. He doesn't, like, people are talking, oh, but Mario can defend a little bit. Layman's not a great defender. Layman's a better defender than Mario is. Layman is literally, I don't think there's one thing that Mario's better at than Layman. Is there one thing?
Maybe handling the ball.
But he doesn't, like, it doesn't accomplish anything when he handles the ball. You know what I mean? Like, Layman gets downhill more, like, just as much as Mario does.
You missed our Hazonia point guard fourth quarter.
How was that?
Oh, he had one assist, I think, to Swanigan cutting him. It was so awkward, but Swanigan almost traveled, and then, yeah.
I do like that Swanigan's look more energetic than he has in the past. He looks a little quicker, lost some weight.
Yeah.
Still just rough that he's playing right now.
There was a lot of plays where because Whiteside got in foul trouble, and Swanigan had to be like the middle guy, the outlet for Dame when he gets trapped and stuff, and he just hardly ever catches that ball cleanly in the middle, so like any advantage we have is wasted by the time he gets the ball. It's kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
Back to talking about the game.
Yeah. Let's talk about this trade because I changed the thumbnail. Not to do a post-game show to analyze that trade. Do you have any more on this trade? Do you want to break it down from another team's perspective? We've got 4 teams here.
No, I mean, I kind of like what Atlanta's doing. They still have several first-round picks so it's not like they gave up their only first-round pick to get a center, and that's a contract that should be easily tradable if they change their mind and want to do something else or go a different direction in the future. If it doesn't work out this year, a little trial run for the next couple months.
I still think they should go after Beal this summer. Like, if they're really trying to win, they just got Capella, go after Beal. I know I asked that. Did you ever respond to that? Like, how good do you think like a lineup of Trae Young, Bradley Beal, DeAndre Hunter, John Collins, Clint Capella is?
I think the defense would be horrible.
I mean, you have Hunter, you have, like, Collins isn't terrible, and then Capella's a rim protector. It'd be like an average defense, maybe. I feel like they'd kind of be doing like our blueprint with like our backcourt, you know what I mean, and then a center. I don't know. They'd kind of be following our like roster construct in a way.
Yeah, you definitely need definitely Hunter to develop. If he developed, then that'd make it a lot easier. But
I mean, you look at the top 4 players though. That would be definitely a playoff team. I think you got Trae Young, you got Bradley Beal, you got Clint Capella, you got John Collins. Then maybe like a Herter pops off the bench. Like, I feel like they'd have the potential to have some depth. Thing is, even if they went out there and got Bradley Beal, I think they'd still have cap space. Because Capella's only making $14 million. Trae Young's on his rookie contract. John Collins is on his rookie contract.
Yeah. I think they're supposed to have like $75 million in cap space.
Yeah, so you could go out and get Bradley Beal and then still have max sap calorie space. So they could take on contracts for additional picks that they could maybe trade for a star. They could, trade some assets for Bradley Beal and then take on bad contracts if they can't use that cap space elsewhere and get, assets that they could flip for a star small forward if one becomes available to completely round out that lineup. Like, that's why I like this Capella pickup for them. Is it's a good player on a decent, like, he has a good contract. So they still have a ton of flexibility going forward, still have a ton of assets to add to it. They got 3 solid players. It's going to be intriguing. Like, they're setting themselves up where they could make a couple of moves and possibly be a fringe contender, I think.
You know what's kind of funny is that Capella doesn't really make his contract's not that much different than Deadman's.
Mm-hmm. And
So it makes me wonder, like, what is Sacramento?
did Sacramento want a first round pick for Deadman or something like that?
Probably that wouldn't surprise
God,
me.
man,
With the way teams are being overvaluing
that's
players.
crazy.
Alex Will says Mario for 2 second rounders. Honestly, I would trade Mario for any player in the league that has 1 year left on it that expires after the season,
Mm-hmm.
and be happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah. God, I hope we do something. Is there any more rumors? I need more rumors, man. I'm antsy. I want them now. Like 1 a.m. Eastern time. I don't care.
Reed asks, "Is there a slower lateral defender in the universe than Swanigan?"
Nope.
In the universe, yes.
Yeah. One. Yeah. In the NBA universe.
I guarantee you, I'm slower. But yeah, probably not in the NBA. I'm trying to think of someone who would be. There's not a lot of like slow, overweight big men anymore. Whiteside's not extremely quick laterally.
He looks fast compared to Swanigan, though.
Yeah.
So the Rockets aren't searching for a small ball center. They're oh no, they aren't searching for a starting center. They're going to play small ball rolling with PJ Tucker at the 5.
Yep,
Tim
that's what they've been doing.
McMahon says, but they need a big to throw at Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis, etc. in the playoffs. Yeah, well, Anthony Davis plays the 4 with JaVale McGee at the 5. Good luck with that. That's like the whole analytics, like spread it out, let Harden go one-on-one. Like offensively, is he really? I don't think they're better offensively. I think you lose the lob target, you gain some shooting. You know what I mean? So like the pick and rolls are going to be less deadly, less lethal, and then maybe Harden's isolations, like it's harder to double him or something. They have better shooting. Defensively, they got better wing defense, but they got a lot softer inside. So like, I think they gave up too much inside to make this trade a real win for them. Because if they found like a center replacement, somebody that could guard bigs and like space the floor as well, then this trade, getting Covington and trading out Capella, would be a huge win. If they could like somehow go get even just like an Aaron Baines, then this trade would be a huge win for them because they still have that size to throw at bigs. He's not a great lob target, but he's a 7-footer, and then he can also step out and shoot, so you still have that spacing, and then you still have the size, the rebounding inside. But without doing that, this trade isn't a win for them, in my opinion.
Yeah. I didn't think they needed a wing more than they needed other positions.
I mean, like he's gonna,
like I said, they're
basically gonna
try to go small.
Tucker from the 4 to the 5 and put Covington in Tucker's place at the 4. But
this goes to the small sample size of not overreacting to a couple games or a hot stretch. But they won their last 2 games without a center, so they think they can,
Yeah. And
actually, did they win today too? Did they play today?
Who did they beat? They beat Dallas, which just has perimeter bigs. You know what I mean? Like, just plays 5 out. And
yeah, they beat Charlotte today, so they're 3-0 now with the 2.
Yeah, shouldn't base it off Charlotte. God, man, that's so as if Capella was the problem there, as if Clint Capella was what was holding them back. God, man, that's Daryl Morey though. You know what I mean? Like, dude makes a lot of big moves, but doesn't, he's too wrapped up in analytics and he's a little too quick to pull the trigger there. I wish Olshey had some Daryl Morey in him, but don't go full Daryl Morey. Chris Paul would be better for that team right now than Russell Westbrook. This team is worse trading Chris Paul for Westbrook. I don't know, man. They just gave up too much inside. And the thing is, when if they're going up against the Lakers, right? You want Covington at the 3, PJ Tucker at the 4, because PJ Tucker is strong, good defender, plays bigger than he is. He could maybe give Anthony Davis some problems, and then you put Covington on LeBron. But if you're going small, you got Tucker guarding McGee, and then you got Covington on... You have to put Covington on one of AD or LeBron, probably on AD, which Covington is a better perimeter defender than an interior defender. So what you're going to have is you're going to have AD go attacking Covington on the inside, and he's not as valuable to the Rockets because he's having to guard AD inside compared to like a more perimeter-oriented player. So you'd rather have Covington at the 3, much rather have Covington at the 3, Tucker at the 4, and then like a center that can maybe protect the rim, rebound, space the floor a bit, than going small. That's why it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't work with the matchups there. And same logic applies to the Clippers in a way. Especially if the Clippers go out and get like a decent power forward. Like, the problem is they got Harkless at power forward, so you could hide like Daniel House or whoever is the small forward on Harkless, and then play Covington against one of Kawhi or Paul George. But if they had Harden at the 2, Covington at the 3, Tucker at the 4, you could hide Harden on Harkless, and then you could play one of Covington on Kawhi or Paul George, and then Tucker on the other one. You could defend both those wings with Tucker and Covington, but playing Tucker at the 5 limits their options defensively, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't understand that.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And they'll say I have another move lined up.
It says right here they're not looking for a starting center, so I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they got Jordan Bell.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, it just
Chiefins says they're 10-1 without Capella, which is decent. But that's kind of my point. That's like, it's not necessarily that they can't do well without Capella. It's just once they get to the playoffs, like you said, it's a different animal. You're not going to be able to go small like the whole playoffs against
it's
every
a lot more
matchup
physical.
you face.
It's a lot more physical.
And
you need that physicality.
You're stuck with that lineup.
Like, we don't make that run last year without Enes Kanter, just that physicality, that threat inside, that big guy inside. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like Houston thinks they can outsmart the league and be a step ahead of everybody, and instead they're setting themselves back in a way. Like, the playoffs is going to be tough because teams will adjust and teams will figure out how to create mismatches. That's what teams do in the playoffs. You create mismatches. You look at us last year against the Denver Nuggets. We abused Jamal Murray with Rodney Hood. Okay, Robert Covington is not. He should be guarding LeBron, not AD. And Jordan Bell and Isaiah Hartenstein aren't guys that you want playing 18 minutes per game in the playoffs. They're both under. Hartenstein is soft inside, and Bell is undersized. Yeah. So they gave up too much inside. If they complemented Covington with something that could, if they played Covington 3, Tucker at the 4, and had a big inside, then this trade would get a much better grade from me. So, like, this is one of those a lot of trades. It's like, okay, they need to complement this trade with something else, if that makes sense.
A lot of people are bringing up Eric Gordon in the chat. Mello Stays asking, would you want Eric Gordon on our team? He can't be traded this year because he signed an extension during the season. It can't.
I mean,
can't happen anyway.
Hassan Whiteside would make a ton of sense for them, but they don't have the contracts to match. They don't have the, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Now that's a team the thing is that he didn't make sense before because they had Capella. Now he makes a ton of sense for them, but they're not looking, they want to go small ball. They don't want that type of center. And they don't have the contracts to match anyway. And because they can't trade Gordon, and the next closest guy is PJ Tucker, who's making $7 million, and they probably wouldn't trade him anyway. That's kind of the heart and soul of their team. It's kind of like Marcus Smart with Boston. So, who else was interested in Capella, though? Who else was being reported?
Boston.
So I wonder if Boston, I wonder how much they want a center. Because Capella made sense because he was a cheap center, They
don't want Hassan bad.
Yeah. I mean, Hassan gives you what Capella gives. I think Hassan's better than... I think he's better than Capella, but Boston would have to give up Smart, Tice
So,
and Cantor, which too much for them. They don't want to give up Smart.
yeah.
Or they'd have to give up Hayward, and I don't see them doing that either. I don't think that makes sense for them.
Tommy Thompson, yeah, that's not really a thing that can happen. If we bought out Hassan, he'd be a free agent, so it wouldn't be guaranteed that the Celtics could sign him, and we lose all that money. Like, we don't get any cap relief from buying him out. So, yeah,
And it wouldn't.
It just can't. We can't make a trade and then buy out a player and then have him go to that team or whatever.
You can either trade him in his full salary or buy him out. You can't like have a workaround where you do both. Or else teams would have done it by now.
Clay says Hassan for Westbrook.
Honestly,
I don't even think that can work.
If that could work, if they're let's say their salaries were even, just player for player, would you do that trade?
No.
That's I mean, our weakest spot is backup guard. I mean, but oh man, bring
Westbrook's gonna come here thinking it's the same thing with Nurkic and Whiteside, only magnified times 1,000. He's gonna come in here thinking he's a better player. I want an MVP. I averaged triple-double the last 3 seasons. I'm better than Dame. He could back me up. I'm not backing Dame up.
But you just start Westbrook as small forward.
But that would be terrible because he can't play off the ball, and he's gonna want the ball in his hands. And you've seen how it works out with Harden.
Yeah, no, I'm not. You start him as small forward, play him 2 minutes, right, as small forward, so that he still starts, so his ego doesn't get hit, and then you sub him out, and then you play the majority of the backup guard minutes, and then you sub him in 2 minutes left in the game, so that he can end the game too, right? You play like Dame 36 minutes a game, and CJ and Westbrook like 34 minutes a game. Boom, championship.
No, Westbrook is not a championship player.
No,
He's not going
to. I'm kidding.
I know.
I will say this though. It's not quite the same as Nurkic and Whiteside because Nurkic and Whiteside cannot play together because they're only centers. The thing is, you could play like Westbrook is big enough to guard shooting guard, so he could play next to Dame and he could play next to CJ. You can argue like, oh, their skill sets don't fit, but like they could like theoretically play together.
Yeah.
But no, that's something fun to think about. That would never happen. Imagine if Westbrook got here. We have like Ariza and Westbrook. Might as well trade for Draymond too. Might as well go out and sign Raymond Felton. Oh my god. Might as well just bring back everybody we hate.
I don't know if I could root for a team with Westbrook on it. He's like such.
I think Blazer fans would love him if he played for our team, man. I feel like that's just
no way.
No, they would hate how dumb he plays, but like his attitude, they would be okay with it, you know?
No, man, I cringe every time he has a post-game interview, and like it just drives me crazy. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Ariza's like professional, and we only hated him for for what he did to Rudy, which was the only reason, but.
Mellow Stay says Dame wants his son on the team. He wants to play with his kid because you know that.
Yeah. Brian Scalabrini, finances towards the cap/tax ATL. So is this like the net result? I think that's the net result. So, ATL cleared $3.8 million in cap space. How much cap space did they have before?
Well, before they did the team trade, I know they were like 4 to 7 million or something under. I'm not sure how much that.
Team trade didn't really affect anything. So how much cap space do they have now? That's what I'm wondering. Because if they have like 8-9 million, then it starts to open up more possibilities for us creating a traded player.
No, he's saying they're 3.8 below the cap now.
Oh, before now? Oh, I thought it was like net movement because they only got back Capella and they traded out Evan Turner. They should save. They should be saving $4 million.
I think they I think whatever the move they made before made him right at the.
But Teague's making 19 million. Crab's making like 18.6.
But they took back another player in that. I don't know how much he was making.
They took back Trevion Graham.
Yeah.
But didn't they send somebody else out?
No, it was a 2-for-1.
Okay, so they took back. Still, I don't know. I'll look it up. I'll look up what their cap was before this.
Okay, Boston is not going to trade Whiteside in a first for Gordon Hayward. First of all, they don't want to trade Hayward. They want to keep him. He's part of their core. Second of all, they already have 3 first-round picks this year. They don't need another first-round pick. And guys, Hassan does not have value to teams that much with his contract. Like, he's a weird fit on teams. Like, there's not teams that would want him. Like, obviously, if we bought him out and he was a free agent and someone could sign him for a minimum contract, sure. Mm-hmm. But like his skill set is kind of weird in a sense where he's not just going to go to a playoff team and be an immediate help to them. Like a roster like Boston, it's just like a weird fit for them. And a lot of these teams want like a more mobile center to fit in their defensive schemes and their offensive sets and stuff. And he's just not that type of player. So there's not a lot of teams that he fits on scheme wise.
I will say this though. I don't think they do Hayward for Whiteside in a pick, but if there's a player out there they really wanted and they also wanted a starting center, they do. Hayward does make $7 million more than Whiteside. So if they were able to construct, we'd have to send out like another contract, but that'd be a minimum contract like Hazonia, and I think it'd work, so that wouldn't count as incoming for them. So $7 million difference. At that point, they could, let me do some math here. 34 times 1.25, this is going to be rough math, minus Whiteside's salary. They could take back a player around like $15 million without having to trade out any extra salary. So if there's somebody like $15 million or under that they really wanted from a team and they needed to give up a first or a couple first round picks for, we give them a first and Whiteside. I don't know if there's like a good example of that. Then maybe, I don't know. Maybe that's how it'd have to be, because like they value Hayward more than Whiteside. But if you're giving up a pick and they really want somebody else, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, everything I'm hearing is that they've turned down all trade inquiries for Hayward.
Yeah, I'm just saying, say they wanted Marcus Morris back, who's been like killing it this year. They wanted somebody that could play like another guy that could play power forward, and then they wanted like a legit starting center. You'd move Tatum over to the 3 and play Marcus Morris with him. Marcus Morris is probably a little better playing off the ball, so maybe fits a little better around there. Like if you could, like, I don't know, maybe they'd be interested in trading Hayward if they got back like a Hassan Whiteside and a Marcus Morris. You know, the pick we gave up helped them land Marcus Morris. I doubt it. I doubt it. I'm just saying, like, the difference between Hayward's and Whiteside's salary could open up, like, the option for them to go out and get somebody without having to give up any other salary, any other players. I don't know. Obviously, just hypotheticals. But I don't think they trade for a center now at this point. Now that Capel's off the board, it's just kind of interesting. If I was Olshey, I'd be pitching that to them. I would do Whiteside in a first for Hayward. Probably not this year's first, or maybe protect a top 16 or whatever. But I would do that trade, and I'd pitch it like that to Boston. Say, like, this could help you get somebody making $50 million. If there's a target out there you really want, we're giving you a pick. Would work out a 3-team trade. That's how I'd pitch it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to trade him because
I mean, neither do I. Yeah.
And the first round pick too is like, I know you're saying to use that to get someone else, but like that's part of the knock on Ainge lately is that he's held on to those first round picks too much, and then he gets stuck drafting like Langford and a bunch of other like mid first round to late first round picks with all of them, and they obviously the Brooklyn ones panned out because they were way higher. You got Jaylen Brown with the 3rd pick and Tatum with the 3rd pick as well when you traded off the 1st pick. But yeah, I just don't think they value first in a trade like that versus like if they were trading one of their players, like a Marcus Smart for a first round pick, that might be different. But like it just doesn't make sense, I don't think, for them. What are you laughing at?
Shut up. He said, dude, listen to what Tori's talking. If you get pissed to me, then go get pissed at him too. And him Productions is like, this is his channel, so that don't count. You guys gotta stop beefing. um, both of y'all gotta relax. We're on the same side here with Blazer fans, right? I don't think Boston is going to be an option. I'll discuss a hypothetical, but I don't think it's really going to be an option. You know?
Yeah, Dame Dalla, but Detroit wouldn't do that.
But hey,
and
what were you gonna say?
go ahead.
No, go ahead. You got it.
No, you talk about this one because I was going to move on to something else.
Luke Kennard would be a good third guard in my opinion for us. Because this year he's having a good year. I don't know why Detroit would give him up, but like if the problem is our first isn't late, but I would give up a late first round pick for Luke Kennard in a heartbeat. You know, if he's actually available, he's 6'5", but like he has some. He's not a point guard, but he has some point guard qualities. Like he's averaging 4.1 assists per game in 33 minutes per game. He's averaged per 36 minutes 4.5 assists. He's getting 16 points per game right now. He's shooting 40% from three. His true shooting percentage is 59%. The knock on him is his defense. He's not a good defender, but like his advanced defensive stats has gone down. So maybe it's just Detroit being a toxic situation. Maybe you could get him to be like an defender. He's 23 years old, so he's young. So maybe that's something you can improve on. But like he's a guy who can knock down threes and I think be a good secondary ball handler and like make plays. So I don't know. Like I want good defenders, but he wouldn't be a horrible target. He's also somebody that is barely making any money. So like say, okay, we're trying to make a run and Olshey identifies like, oh, Simons isn't getting this done. We need a backup guard that can handle the ball, make plays, shoot threes, whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that could be an option. Thing is, I'm not going to give up a mid-first round pick for him, and I don't know. It probably doesn't line up. It's probably not going to be an option for us, but he is kind of intriguing.
I don't know why they wouldn't take Phoenix's offer if that was.
Has Phoenix actually offered that though?
Well, it was rumored it was
Okobo,
and Javon Carter and a first round pick. I don't know.
I assume those guys were just to match salary. I'm assuming Detroit isn't super high on them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what do you think about like his fit as a third guard?
It's okay. I prefer someone who's a little better defender when you already have Dame and CJ. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a terrible fit. He's a good shooter. You can play. Actually, he's a good pick and roll guard. So like him and Nurkic would probably be a pretty good combo.
Yeah, or like if Whiteside's the backup center, you know, if we bring him back or something to have like Kennard and him, and yeah. Offensively, he's a great fit. He's a perfect fit, I think. Defensively, he's definitely not. Yeah. You know, that's the problem with that.
So, M. Sotolo and someone else, Josu, they're talking about Sabonis. He didn't get snubbed for a contract. He signed an extension in the offseason. He's got the poison pill contract. So they basically can't trade him this summer because his extension is way higher than his contract this season, and it counts differently, outgoing versus incoming. There are probably ways to make it work, but it's like 99% impossible to do. And they're not going to trade Sabonis anyway. They're talking about trading Miles Turner and keeping Sabonis. He's an all-star this year. I don't know why they would even entertain trading him over Miles Turner. But at the same time, someone else mentioned, I think it was McDermott and Miles Turner for Whiteside. Like, Pacers aren't going to do that. There's no incentive for them to do that. They could get a lot more than that for Miles Turner, I think, in a different trade. So, I don't. Yeah. Clay's brought up Harrison Barnes too. No, he's not that good either, and being paid over $20 million.
Harrison Barnes is the #1 trade target I don't want. No, like, I'd rather have Kevin Love. I'd rather have Harrison Barnes is like on a 4-year contract making 24 million, and he's like a role player at best. Honestly, he's no better than Ariza. Like, Harrison Barnes has always been somebody people have really liked. But
I think that's.
Hey,
I mean, you can kind of justify it with. I mean, he won a championship with Golden State when they had 2 good guards, so you kind of think he knows how to play on a team with like a Dame and CJ. But yeah, it's not worth $20+ million to have him.
AM Productions, you got to chill, man. You got to relax. Okay? He is having messages that are being held for moderation that I'm hiding for a reason. But you just got to just relax, bro. Stop beefing. Yes, I'd rather have Love over someone. Love is like my #2 trade target I don't want. Harrison Barnes is #1. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't really hear what you said because I was like seeing stuff pop up in chat.
Oh, it's fine. I was just talking about how I think the reason why people are high on Barnes is because they see him as like a fit with other good, because they saw him play with Curry and Klay Thompson, so they kind of fits on a roster with Dame and CJ. But I'm not saying that that's what I think. Yeah. I'm saying that's what other people.
I get that, but
R.I.P. Blazers said the Rockets were trying to get Montrezl Harrell. I don't know if they have the assets to do so now.
They want to bring Covington and Harrell back. Yeah, they don't have the assets. Yeah. Somebody said Gallinari is a top target of Miami's. I don't think OKC trades Gallinari. Also, he's an expiring contract, so he's not a guy that would really be tradable next year. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And that's if he stays. So, because I don't know, he's up there in age, so I don't think a rebuilding team is going to want to take on his contract. But we'd have to pay him multiple years to resign him, or we'd be on a no-trade clause. And since he probably would be starting for us, I don't think he'd just waive that no-trade clause. I think he'd enjoy playing here, and if we then tried to trade him, that would actually work against us, which is kind of crazy to think about. But AM, you are going to chill, bro, because you got to chill. You got to chill. You can disagree with him and debate him, but like the insults and the from like both you guys, like the disrespect, like I just said you am entitled to your own opinion, but the disrespect, all that type of stuff, like talking shit, that type of stuff, like please relax on that, okay? But Harrell will be good for Houston because they could probably match his salary, but they don't have the assets for him. And then Gallinari, I don't think will get traded, but Miami probably doesn't have enough for him. They can't really trade a pick. That's why I think the best destination for Kevin Love is Miami. They could trade like Justice Winslow, Derrick Jones Jr., and one of their bad contracts like a James Johnson and get Kevin Love.
Speaking of Love, well, for one, the Clippers were, I guess, called Cleveland about Love, but it's another one of those trades that it would be hard for them to get. But Tristan Thompson, I guess, demanded a trade, and Cleveland's asking for a first rounder for him. Like,
man.
There's another team that's asking for a first rounder.
Who the hell's going to give a first rounder up for Tristan Thompson? God.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah. Zacho keeps mentioning Tyus Jones. I just read something that Memphis loves Tyus Jones as a backup to Ja, and that they're really happy with him and that he's not being shopped at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then so there's a bunch of secondary players on Detroit and Phoenix. And yeah, if that trade goes down between those two teams and there's players that those teams don't want, like a Mikal Bridges, now that they'd have Oubre and Kennard and Devin Booker and Rubio and all, like there's no real room for Mikal Bridges anymore. I would definitely absorb any of those guys that they wanted to get rid of with our trade exception.
Yeah.
So maybe that's instead of trading Whiteside, maybe that's how they justify not trading him, is using that exception this year or doing something to get a player on the fringe. Trade Whiteside for Tristan Thompson. I don't think Cleveland can do that because I think they're either a tax team or close to the tax.
You know what? Here, let me find it. Let me go to Trade Machine.
It's 27-19, I think. But why would Cleveland take on $8 million?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's 18.5 to 27. So like if we got back like I don't think that works.
Jetty?
Well, we could trade out like we could do God, that just doesn't make sense. But we could do like I don't think they'd trade Shetty can't be traded this year because he just signed an extension.
All right, he's got the points.
Yeah, so
Eric Bouchard asked, would it make sense to go after Harrell for the Blazers? Yeah, it makes sense. I'd love to have Harrell, but like, there's really no way for us to get him because, like, LA Clippers are a contending team this year. They're not going to want a bunch of crap and picks to get to, because he only makes like $6 million or something this year, somewhere around there. So like, there's really no trade that makes sense between our rosters
for Thompson. We could do. I mean, we'd probably have to throw in a pick though, because I don't see why they do this without a pick. But we could do Whiteside, Swanigan, and Hazonia for Thompson, Zizic, and Windler. Hazonia would match Windler, Swanigan would match Zizic, and for us, like Whiteside would match Thompson. Obviously, we'd basically get a $8.5 million traded player exception from that. And then for Cleveland, they could absorb Swanigan and they could absorb Hazonia with the Jordan Clarkson traded player exception they got. And then Thompson, Zizic, and Windler would match Whiteside. So Windler's been hurt all year. He has some medical issues, and Zizic hasn't really done anything for them. So, maybe they'd give those guys up. Zizic would be some big depth, replace Swanigan. I think be better than him. Like, Thompson's an asshole, though. I don't really want him on the team. I'm not saying I would do this, but Cleveland would want a first-round pick because they want a first-round pick for Thompson. They wouldn't really value Whiteside either because Whiteside would probably end up getting bought out or wouldn't stay there. So, and then Thompson's expiring too. It doesn't like provide us with future flexibility outside of that traded player exception. So that's not like a good trade for us if we're giving up anything more. And even if we're not giving up anything, I just don't see how that, I don't know, the $8.5 million traded player exception is not that helpful once we already have a $7 million one, if that makes sense. Like, we need a traded player exception, like $15 million or so, and there's like ways we could be creative and create a traded player exception that big. We'd like use our $7 million traded player exception to take on somebody, then like the difference between Whiteside and somebody else in that trade could be like $15 million. Like, it's creative, but I just don't see us doing that,
Yeah, see, it's so hard to create that. Don't get me wrong. I really like Ariza so far, and I'm not saying I would undo that trade, but when that trade happened, that's why I wasn't as high on it as you, because not having Bazemore's contract, because like we could trade Bazemore for Jang right now, and then
but Ariza's an expiring this offseason and expiring next year if he gets guaranteed.
But I'm saying is, like, that would allow us to make trades for, like, we could get rid of Whiteside because we'd already would have had Jang, and then I'm just using that as an example, but like we could have used both of those contracts together to make something where we got a bigger trade exception, but it just makes it a lot harder with just Whiteside as our only tradable commodity, and then not having any centers too. So like, you just wonder what the opportunity cost lost